For our hybrid learning strategy, we're going to be exploring movement. Movement is absolutely wonderful and essential for getting our learners engaged. There's a lot of sitting happening, so the more we can add movement, the more our engagement and participation can increase. So these are a few ideas that we can explore here today. So the first one is one that you're probably already doing. These are those intentional breaks during the day. These are those brain breaks, your go noodles, your scheduled time that you have. You can always add a few more of these during the day, but in smaller chunks, like 1 to 5 minutes throughout your day. The next one is the content movement. This is more like your TPR, your total physical response. So maybe you have a word of the day that your students are listening for. So let's say, for example, I'm a fifth grade teacher, and for our content time, we're talking about the westward expansion. So anytime that they hear the word expansion, they're going to be using their arms throughout the entire class time. The transition movement here, this really should happen all the time in general whenever we're transitioning from one thing to the next. So this allows our brains a moment to stop, to pause, and to switch so that we're ready to learn. So this might look like using the mindful moments folder, and maybe you're integrating a mindful moment. For example, if you use the 3 collective breaths, a variation could be breathing in focus and having them stand up and moving their arms to breathe in focus for the day. Breathing in focus for the day, and breathing in focus for the day. So you can do that. Anything that allows them to just stand up and transition. Another idea could be, in the classroom, we would be walking from one side of the room to the other. So have students stand up, and maybe you have them walk in their space for about 30 seconds, and then have them come and sit back down as if they are literally transitioning from one spot of the room to the other. Maybe as a teacher, if you're moving around, maybe you actually take the class to that space and walk together, and they walk in their space until they get to that space with you. Okay. Our next one is the response movement. So this one is just giving validation to learners in the classroom. So anytime that somebody has a really great response, maybe you just have a class chant, a class validation response. One of my favorite ones I learned in one of the classrooms that I was in is that just saying, "You did great, 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 great." So you could just do any type of movement. Maybe it's you're saying like, "Mrs. Frank, yes, yes, yes," just something to engage learners, and this is also building that culture in your classroom. The integrated movement is more of like in the moment, on the spot, like creating movements that students can copy as they see. So let's say I am in a classroom, I'm learning about time, and I have to have a clock, and when I'm explaining this as a teacher, I say, "Okay, everybody, you're going to need your clock. Go ahead and show me your clock." Yes, great movement with your clock. Next, get your materials out. Now we're going to be having our hour and our minute. Go ahead and show us your hour and your minute. Great, let's continue on moving. All right, again, thinking about your learners, any grade level, make it relative to you, but add movement. Even in junior high, they need to be moving. So figure out a way of integrating it into your day. The last one here is the random movement. So perhaps you set your own timer in your mind of random times during the day to just pop in a random movement. So maybe you just have random dance parties. And again, maybe that's a part of your classroom culture where you just go dance party, and then you have 1 minute just random dancing, and then having them have a seat or something else that makes sense for you. But there are so many ways to be including movement, and we need to get our students moving. That allows our brains to be focused and ready, our bodies to be ready, and just to be together, creating these engagement opportunities. So feel free to reach out if you want any other ideas. I hope this gets you started, and good luck.